The Committee on Economic Development meeting to order. Please roll call, Madam the Clerk.
Commissioner Varga. Commissioner Palomera has requested an excuse. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Here.
Commissioner Dobb.
Here.
Commissioner Baydoun has requested an excuse. Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Chair Hattis.
Present.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Item B, the chair remarks. I think I have no remark today except things looking very good in Wayne County. So many economic development knocking on the door, and we hope to continue that trend to the future. Next item.
D, approval of the March 22nd, 2022 meeting minutes.
Move approval. Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carry. Next item, please.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 1, under new business, communication from City of Wyandotte Downtown Development Authority forwarding notification of a public hearing before the Wyandotte City Council on the adoption of a brownfield redevelopment and tax increment financing plan for the former City Hall property.
We have item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They all receive and file.
Move to receive and file items 1 through 6. Support.
Any discussion on item 1? There are none. Any discussion on item 2? Item 3? Item 4? Item 5? Item 6? There's no discussion. Motion been made and supported. All
Who
those
supported? Thank you.
Commissioner McCormick? She's okay. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Motion carry. Next item.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of the amendments to the program years 2020 and 2021 annual action plans that were submitted by the Charter County of Wayne to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Any question on this item? If not, we need a motion.
Can
I'll
we
move
have, Mr. Chair, can we have someone talk to this item, please?
Yes. Please take the podium, state your name and position. Yeah, push the button.
Oh, that one, okay, sorry. Tuesday Redmond, Community Development Program Manager.
Stephanie Case, Community Development, Economic Development Program Manager.
Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
So this is a request to approve additional funds for the 2020 and 2021 RFP projects. As you can recall, in 2019, we did a restructuring of the CDBG program to convert that to RFP projects. We sent out applications to all 34 communities. Those communities then sent proposals back requesting funding sources. Once the proposals are back, we submit those through a county procurement process for RFP projects. In that process, we're finding that 75% of the projects that come back after being sent out for bids are over the amount that is awarded. So we're requesting, and some cases, the communities are able to use program income or general fund dollars to cover those overages, but these particular projects, they were not. So we have additional funds that in 2015 we like to allocate to these particular projects to cover the overage costs.
And for the overage, you said, where are the funds coming from again?
So we had additional funds that we set aside in 2015 for economic development purposes. We didn't have projects for those funds. So we want to reallocate those funds to cover this overage of the cost because we need to spend it before September 30th or we're going to lose the money.
So the money that we had set aside, we would lose that money if we
Yes,
don't
yes.
use it by a certain time?
Correct.
Okay.
September 30th
And
of
that's
this year.
where the 629,000 is coming.
Has to be drawn down, vouchered out and drawn down from HUD.
Right, and the 6 projects, I guess the overages was vetted to ensure that they were valid
Yes.
overages, you know.
Yeah, so each project is, once we get the proposals back from the communities, they're vetted through the county procurement process. And so they go out to qualified vendors. The issues that we're finding is that the communities probably need to do a little better job in vetting the projects. And two, you're thinking about cost-wise too, manufacturing costs has gone up, delivery costs has gone up. So that makes an impact. What we're trying to do to prevent that from happening in future years is to do a 10% contingency on top of the cost, the price that or the award that the community is asking for. Hopefully that can cover that overages. And we're also too asking the communities to, put the cost of engineering costs, design costs, so those costs inside the proposals, because some of the proposals that we're getting, after we get them, we have to vet for engineering costs and design costs and spec costs. That's the extra cost too. So we're asking the communities to put that cost into the RFP and the award amount that they're requesting from us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Varga.
Thank you. One of my communities was one of those in Melvindale. By the time I heard about it, the project had been kind of slimmed down. They started out with the bid, it was with 2 bathrooms. The community was told, not county, the community was told that they could only get 1 bathroom. And I raised a lot of hell because if somebody comes in with a bid to the county for this project, they had the project exactly the way the community wanted it. So if they bid on that and they couldn't do it, they should have been coming back to the county, not to the community. They wanted thousands and thousands of dollars from the community when their contract was with the county. So
I know exactly the project you're talking about. When the project was submitted to the county, it was 2 bathrooms. We also asked the city to, when we put that out for bid, we say, we'll ask you to contact your contractor who gave you that bid and have them bid on that project. That contractor didn't bid on the project. So when the project went out for a bid, other vendors bid on that project and the cost was over what was awarded.
city did not know that they were not gonna, they did not know that they couldn't get what they were asking for, is what I'm trying to say. There's a lack of somehow communication with that, because now instead of having a boys and a girls bathroom, they have 1 bathroom.
But another option is too, that we also told the community on the next year, you could also bid for that project too. We've done that too as well.
I hope so, because we really need 2 bathrooms.
Yeah, they just have to bid for the
I mean,
project
for safety reasons,
right.
in a playground, 1 bathroom unisex for kids is just not a good idea.
Yeah, they just have to bid for that project in the next, request funding for that project in the next fiscal year.
I will encourage them to
Okay.
do that. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
other question? Commissioner
Chair.
Anderson.
To that point, I just wanted to ask, what happens when you have a contractor that bids on a project and then they basically we have to walk away from that contractor because they underestimated what the cost would be? Am I understanding that correctly? That what happens? Do they go on a list that says from now on, we're not going to deal with that contractor?
But we haven't had that issue yet. What the biggest issue we're having is that once the community requests funds for a particular project, we do the action plan based on what they submit to us. Then once we get that project and we send it to procurement for out to bid, the bids are coming in higher than what the community asked for funding. So that's our biggest issue. And that's why we're coming to you today. So we're trying to, we're just on our third year of this project, this process. So we're trying to implement other ideas that help us alleviate those issues. And those are two, like add your engineering costs, add your designing costs, add those particular costs, and I was putting a 10% contingency on the cost. So when they send us, $200,000 request, we'll put a $20,000 contingency on that cost. So hopefully that will alleviate us from coming back to you, asking you for more money, more money. So we're trying to overcome obstacles as they go. This year has been a better year than it was when we first started. So I think the longer we do the process, the better the process is going to be.
That sounds good. I understand that nowadays, especially with what's been going on the last couple of years, prices of items that may be involved in a project are going to be much higher. And they, as you're mentioning, building a cost increase clause. But if they're way off, and I'm just concerned that they might get another project, same thing happen again, this contractor, but you're saying since the locals approved that contract, it's something that, it's county dollars, of course, that's going to that local community.
I think it's going to be at some point, we're going to have to say if your project is over what you awarded, so we have to put it on the back burner. You can apply again next year because we can't keep putting the money in. It's not actually fair for the communities that put in proposals that didn't get funding for us to keep the funding projects that are over the cost. So at some point, and I think that's going to be this year, if the project is over what they requested, we're going to have to say that you have to apply again next year.
Because that's more legwork that we have to do, more time that has elapsed, dealing with the purchasing, having to submit to the commission and their staff. So we're trying to get a handle on what they're submitting and making sure that what they submit is a viable project and we don't have to start from scratch, because we've had to do it. Oh, I want to do playground equipment, but have no idea. You put in for $45,000. Playground equipment may cost $150,000. So we're getting there. It's just taking time.
And also some of the projects too, we bid it out more than once.
Yes.
And I would expect that any of these suppliers for what they're using would have a contract with them when they give them an estimate of what it is, that it's locked in for a certain period of time. And like I said, it just doesn't sound like something that's happening in private industry. I know the cost increases are still there, but they have some assurance by having something in that contract or the bid that is required in the bid that says no more than X number of dollars or percentage is something that'll be, they will adhere to at least. But anyway.
I think through the county procurement process, you can't put a price on what the amount of the project is. I mean, that's the issue too. We can't say we have $100,000 for this project, so you can't bid over this $100,000. So we asked procurement about that. We can't put that on a price on the project, on the RFP project. So I don't know, maybe we can, discuss that internally. If that can be a process that can change with this grant funds in the case. But we also ask the communities to, get 3 quotes. submit 3 quotes, so you at least have a cost analysis when you're submitting something to us that is a veritable, gives you, you know, an idea of if you're on the right track or not. So like I said, we're just trying to overcome challenges. So we're, you know, but I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Improving it every year.
Maybe the procurement, we do need to look at that process and, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Varga.
Is there any way, I mean, I should be talking to you about this privately, but I'm really stuck on having 2 bathrooms for that place because it's a very cultural rich community. And some girls cannot go in to a bathroom where there's boys go to. And I think you might know what I'm talking about. So the cultures won't allow things like that. So is there any way that could be, because it's a leftover sort of from the project, if we have to give money back and there's nothing else that could be spent before that date, and this is a ready to go project for the next bathroom, since they were promised 2, is there any, don't give me an answer now.
Well, I know
But
that
I would've-
Melvindale has submitted a yearly request for CDBG funds. And then they have a project now, 2021, that they're doing the Cochrane in the Plunkett Park there. So I would talk to, I mean, Rich, you know,
Rich is a great guy.
Yeah, he's the one submitting the RFP, so I would talk to him to ask for 2020, you know, what was the request for funds? I can't remember if it
I'll
was.
contact him too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he may think differently about some of these things than a woman would too, so.
Because we have to look at all the community overall. There's
I understand.
34 communities, and, you know, we also have to take a look at the communities that have submitted previous RFPs that we may not have received funding. So we have to look at the overall big picture of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things we did too. So communities that did not receive funding in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
We made sure that those communities were able to get projects out too for funds.
As they say, we're trying to spread the wealth.
Yeah.
I totally understand. However we do it, the community just doesn't have that. I'll talk to Rich. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify the block grant dollars, as you just alluded to, there's only so much in the pool. And we initially divided those funds into each of the communities, right? So if we divided the funds, the overages will affect the other communities, or no?
No, because
Okay.
we had 2015 funds that we need to use. So because we had the overage in this particular year of funding, we were able to say, hey, we have this extra money, let's put it towards projects that we know that we can, number one, expend before the deadline, which is coming up. And so it doesn't affect the allocation of the year that the funding in it is in.
Okay, but that community is getting more than what we had divided up initially, right?
Commissioner.
Well, actually, it's not,
Let me help you on this.
Okay.
In the past, they used to divide the money, and it's up to the community to bring a project to spend that money. And that caused a lot of problem for the CDBG program, because a lot of community dragged their feet and they didn't spend their money in time. And now the county is struggling to move the money. And sometimes it have a political effect if you're going to move money from community to another. Then after that, the Wayne County and HUD start to work to find new system that take away losing some money because it was not spent in timely manner. So now what we do, we evaluate the award of the money based on projects. Communities submit project to the CDBG program, and then the CBG choose those projects and try to make sure to assist the community to execute and spend the money in timely manner instead of divide the money. Example, Romulus got $500,000 under the old system. They used to get $120,000. Now they got $500,000 this year for certain project. Now we might skip them 1 year or two and give the other community chance to get their important project.
So, yes, and I think I was pretty clear on how that worked before. I guess my question is if you already allocate a certain amount, and I think we did break those amounts up, what was that last year, 2 years ago? So what I was concerned about is if we had a pot of money that we were pulling from other community funds, but we're not.
No.
We had extra dollars
Yes.
from a previous year.
So for fiscal, I'm sorry. So in previous years, we would take certain amount of money and put it away in economic development pot for projects inside the county wanted to fund. So we didn't have any projects that we allocate that money to. So now we have to use this unallocated money. Wasn't allocated for any community or anything. It was
Okay,
allocated for special projects.
I got it.
So now we have to spend that money before we lose it.
Right.
And also too, I want to say that all 34 communities gets $20,000 automatically every year. So everybody gets some funds.
They still have to fill out the application, but they do get the funds.
Okay. And I think the quote, which you talked about earlier, getting at least 3 quotes, I
Yes.
think that would help to resolve that issue. Because it seems strange, not strange, but it would be difficult to keep up if everyone just comes back and says, oh, well, we have an issue with overage here and now we need more money and more money and more money. Okay, thank you. I got it.
Any other question?
Move for approval.
Johnson?
Through the chair, just for transparency's sake, it's our understanding as staff that there are other projects that have likely been bid out and awarded that will come in over the amounts that were anticipated by the county. Now, it took us quite a while to work with the department to figure out how this should be submitted to this body. So we were anticipating engaging the department to figure out a more streamlined process for those projects that may have already been awarded and is still outstanding. This was only, I think 6 projects on this list, but there may be others. So you may have more coming to you at some point in time. Staff is planning to meet with the department to sort of figure out a process to address those in a more timely manner than these were addressed. In addition to that, staff did have several questions as we were going through this process regarding the potential of the contingency. When we talk about unused funds, remember that for CDBG, this body actually does approve those projects and those plans and those estimated amounts. So when you say unused funds, having some type of reporting mechanism coming back to this body to say, okay, these is where the unused funds came from, they're still here, and then they'll tell us at some future point where they're planning to allocate those funds to. And then also the delegated authority piece, because we did discover that they do some contracts based on the procurement ordinance, which is the CEO's delegated authority at this point of 150, but then we give delegated authority in the resolution for CDBG. So I don't know the staff has a full understanding of exactly how the program is working. So we did have a conversation about having a future conversation so that we can make sure we fully understand how the project is working and everything is in place to make sure that it's streamlined from our perspective. So I will just say to the department, I know that 22 plan should be coming soon. So we should have that meeting sooner rather than later to make sure that when it gets here, we don't have to send it back and we can sort of make sure it's a smoother process. So, thank you.
And
Question.
just to.
Commissioner McGormick.
Yes, just to that point, what is the set aside amount? What is the dollar amount that we have set aside? You said there were funds that you pulled from for the overage. What was that?
But that was from
Fund.
the average CDBG funding is around $5 million.
Mhm.
So with that, there's administration portion, there's then there's a breakup of the projects that we do. Also with that, Wayne County can use funds as well for projects that they, would want to do. So from 2015, there were funds left over that
What was the leftover amount? That's what I'm asking.
630,000.
630,000.
Okay, so is this the 629?
Yes,
That
Yes.
was the total?
Yeah.
yes.
That's,
Yeah.
okay. And so you're just gonna pull down off of the
Yes.
629 every time there's an overage for, or
No,
just?
no. These projects right here, these funds, 2015 funds will be done and over with. There
Okay.
will be no more 2015 funds. So we're doing a reconciliation on what other years of funding we have and what projects that we're using all the funds of. We're going through everything and just to make sure
Okay.
that we meeting the HUD requirements of the deadline. So we're almost done with 16, very little money, funds left, extra money left.
Well, motion been made and supported. If any discussion? Hearing none, all those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, motion carry. And I'd like to thank our staff on the commission side. They work hard on this item here to make sure it's clear and ready for approval. So good combination of good work between the administration. Thank you. Next item, please.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Next item.
Public comments.
Mute everyone online. You receive any email?
No emails.
Okay, we could unmute anybody online like to comment on the Economic Development Committee issue. Again, anybody from the public like to comment? For the third time, anybody from the public like to comment on the Economic Development Committee? Hearing none. Before we adjourn, I'd like to introduce Eddie Fakuri, the new liaison for the commission. It's his first meeting with the Economic Development. Welcome aboard. We're looking forward to work with you. Thank you. Any other comment from any other commissioner? Seeing none, motion to adjourn will be in order.
To adjourn.
Motion been made and supported. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
Aye.